Let me pick up where I left off yesterday with Michelle Obama, because you need to understand this. What is happening in today's America has been a very long-laid plan. And the first warning sign of it came from Michelle Obama. She was in Puerto Rico. This is 2008. She's on the campaign trail. And she says famously these words.
And Barack knows that we are going to have to make sacrifices. We are going to have to change our conversation. We're going to have to change our traditions, our history. We're going to have to move into a different place as a nation to provide the kind of future that we all want desperately for our children. And he is the man to do it.
Now, just a few days before, in fact, 5 days before the election, then candidate Obama said the words, "We are 5 days away from the fundamental transformation of the United States of America." So we know when this was put into play, and it is being finished now. Yesterday, I played this clip from her where she was saying Barack knows that we're going to have to make sacrifices. And I told you about all of the things that we have already sacrificed. And then she said, we're going to have to change our language, our conversations. Well, that's been fundamentally transformed, hasn't it? Aren't you having conversations now that you never thought you would ever have in America? I love the Ricky Gervais line saying that, you're never going to get bashed and kicked off Twitter or any social media for 10 years ago saying, there's no such thing as a man that can get pregnant, because we didn't say it back then, because we didn't think we had to. Think of all of the things that we're saying now to each other, that we're talking about, having conversations about, men in women's changing rooms, pronouns. You can't define a woman. Our Supreme Court Justice nominee could not define a woman. Don't think that would have happened prior to 2008. Or the fact that all white people are guilty and there is no salvation for them. Our God and our Constitution, they've been run out of town. The teachings now and the sacraments, they're bigoted. Who would have ever thought that with the founding of this nation, that proclaiming your faith, and I don't care what it is, I don't care if you're you follow the Church of Piglet from Winnie the Pooh, I don't care. The fact that we can't talk about our faith openly without being called bigots is remarkable. The conversations that we have had on terror right now, that January 6th, the clowns that went in and actually did something, I want them in jail. But to say that that was a serious terrorist insurrection is ridiculous. And yet the conversation we just had, where's the DOJ on Jane's Revenge? Where's the DOJ on Black Lives Matter? The fact that we can't even talk about Black Lives Matter. The conversations that have happened in our National Archives over our founding documents, where they had to put warning labels on them because they were offensive. Yeah, I think we've changed our conversations. I think we've sacrificed. She goes on to say, and we're going to change our traditions and our history. Well, I think that has happened. Our traditions, look at the state of the church today. Look at the state of our holidays. Look at the state of just Independence Day, July 4th. How many of us, the diehard constitutionalists, the ones who love America, go to a 4th of July ceremony and we're kind of like, all of our traditions have been debased. All of our heroes have been debased. All of our institutions debased. What do you believe in today? I would say that's changing our traditions. Our foundations of life, liberty, and property gone. Your personal business was your personal business. And you had the God-given freedom to expand your opportunities to the best of your abilities, but you don't anymore. We fought a bloody war to create an experiment to break free from overlords. We fought another bloody war to guarantee that that freedom we love so much included all skin colors. There's no other nation on the planet that did that. There is no other nation on the planet where freedom and opportunity are so widely shared and available regardless of race or creed. Nowhere, yet we don't think we're special. Our traditions and our history are being changed. Occupy Wall Street said it was those dirty 1%ers who were enslaving the other 99%. Eat the rich. And how did Obama respond? He sympathized with them. Do you remember that? He said the radicals in the Occupy movement reflected the, quote, broad-based frustration in the country. Later, when discussing Black Lives Matter, Obama said the movement was, quote, something that gave me hope, end quote. Why am I not surprised that those who called for the fundamental transformation of America find hope in the words of trained Marxists? Michelle Obama said she feared for her daughters' lives now that they're driving cars. Why? Because of all of the systemically racist cops out there. This is the tradition. This is the history. The 1619 Project. They are changing it because they know if we disconnect from our history and our traditions, we no longer are America. They want us to believe that everything is racist, bigoted, and everyone is full of hate. They want us to believe that the Pilgrims were horrible people, despite all of the actual evidence and documents. And worst of all, the most important tradition of all, the American family. That is the strength and the backbone of our culture. But just like the progressives did in the 1960s, by saying, we love you so much, they killed the black family. And look at what has happened to their culture. Look at what has happened because they broke the back of the family. That wasn't blacks that did that. That was progressive whites that did that. And now Black Lives Matter is returning the favor. They've pledged to end the nuclear family. Children are being taught in schools to be advocates and activists, to march, to join unions. They're being subjected to sexualized material. Drag queens were never part of our culture, at least the overall culture. Drag queens were a subculture. Now they are our culture. Now we have Nancy Pelosi saying drag queens are what made America what it is today. Woodrow Wilson said it was the purpose of a university to make a son as most unlike his father as possible. Well, they're doing it now in pre-K, in kindergarten. They're directly going after our grade school kids, and they're using our kids to break our families. See, this is the most sinister part of the transformation, honestly. Companies like Disney, public school boards, federal government going directly at the most vulnerable targets they can find, our children, all to re-engineer a warped view of our history, to shatter American traditions, destroy the American family. And who better to lead it for the left than Mickey frickin' Mouse? If that's not a tradition that has now been destroyed. Michelle said at the end of her statement that we are moving into a different place as a nation to provide the future we want. This is why America First is so dangerous for them. America must be subservient. America must be broken. We are not a lighthouse. We are not a city on a shining city on a hill. We're not that. If the most powerful nation that has ever existed can bow to an outside power, who will the subjects bow to? How many freedoms will they be willing to sacrifice? Our tradition of our proud military being destroyed. Destroyed. Who does this administration take the lead from? Every time they talk or write an executive order, I see regurgitated words from the World Economic Forum. The future Michelle spoke about is summed up with one word: subservience. That is the new America, and it is the end of the American experiment, the end of the American tradition and exceptionalism. It is the end of the nation that you and I remember. But it doesn't have to be that way.